how firms are using technology and what kind of, how can they use it more?
Yeah, you read my mind, Dave, because as John was talking, I'm like, oh, I would love to build on this. And I'll add one other thing, not directly related to technology, but Jim called it out earlier. It was a very important point. Start somewhere. Just get one client. The ones that I have seen that I've watched go from not doing advisory at all to like, oh, it becomes a tidal wave at some point. It's really magical to watch. But they start with one client, and that's how you get going, right? So forget restructuring, forget all the big stuff, because this is an overwhelming topic for people. When they start thinking about leading with advisory, we use the words transformation to advisory, right? Those are scary things. Just pick one. You know that client, you have the client that you can start this with. And then you keep working on the rest of your firm, and then we come back to technology, right? It's so important. It's such a powerful force in our society today, but then even in our profession, the things that technology can do now. I mean, I could have never imagined the stuff that we can accomplish with technology today when I was starting in the profession 20 years ago. The biggest thing that I'll say that happens with technology, and it sort of ties back to my point earlier, like we just keep doing what we've always done. And John, you made a point about, half your clients are in the cloud, half of them are still on the desktop, but it's hosted or whatever. And I mean, all that's fine. But the thing that I don't think people quite realize is that, especially when we're talking about cloud technology, the cloud technology is designed with a different workflow in mind. And I constantly see people trying to take cloud technology and then jam it into their legacy workflows, and it doesn't work, and they get frustrated and they end up hating the software when really the software is great. It's doing what it's supposed to do, but you've got to learn how it's designed to be leveraged, because cloud technology automates not just a single task, it automates a series of tasks. And if you can understand how it does that, then you can leverage it in the right ways, and you'll find that you're actually not frustrated with the technology. You're able to take advantage of it so that you can automate and create the space for innovation within your firm, create the space for change, right? And continue to lean into the future and the forward looking, instead of looking back and saying, this is how we've always done it. Here's a new technology, let me try and plug it in. It doesn't work. And then you get disheartened by the whole process too. And so then you feel like you just kind of keep going back to basics. So my number one thing with technology that I would share with people is, and coming from the education leader at Intuit, right? I see it a lot. Take the training that's offered with the software. Spend the time to really learn how to use it, how it's designed. You will find that it's much more powerful than even on the surface. And that goes for a lot of technology solutions. I'm not just talking about Intuit's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jim?
And just to kind of build on that, so education is so important. If you really want to improve your firm, get involved in your community. Listen to those thought leaders that are out there sharing best practices. Jason's podcast, Accountant Trends, has tons of great thought leaders that are recommending, best practices that have already been tried and true. What we find is the biggest challenge is that John touched on a little bit about that mindset. It's that paradigm shift of the traditional way of doing things, maybe the traditional technology, the traditional programs that we've used, to trying something new. That once you get past the paradigm shift, the rest of it kind of flows a little easier. Then it's just figuring out the process. And as accountants and tax professionals, we're great at figuring out complex problems. We're great at designing amazing processes. But trying to get through that paradigm, education, thought leadership, get involved in those communities, because your peers have already solved this stuff. They've already figured out amazing ways to run their firm. And Jason and I get the privilege of just seeing some amazing firms. I remember this was like 7 years ago when one of my tax council members, who had migrated all of her doctor clients to the cloud, they specialized in doctor medical practices to the cloud. They were doing all of their accounting things monthly, began to close the books. Their meetings moved from talking about getting stuff together to finish the books to focusing on client goals, focusing on forward, looking at profit, looking at tax saving strategies. I remember the first year that they had them all up there and they finished every business return by March the 15th. And I remember we celebrated because that had never happened in the history. I've been doing this a long time. In the history of our profession, we had never done that. Finished all of them, a couple hundred, before the business deadline. When I asked our tax counsel this year how things were going, how they were doing, the vast majority of them had finished all of their business clients by January 31st. January 31st. So when you want to see the value of moving to the platform, moving to the cloud, updating your practice, those are the realities. It creates as much as 9 months of capacity that we used to dedicate to tax compliance. Now we can focus that capacity on more valued things, things that your clients care more about. I work for Intuit, so I'm an Intuit fan, but our goal here at Intuit is to create an AI, artificial intelligence driven expert platform. What that really means is everything's in the cloud. There are ways to connect all of these applications to solve all the jobs as best as possible. Yes, there's still work that we have to do, but the goal is keep trying to automate everything. And the artificial intelligence will give you insights as an expert, give you recommendations to share with your clients. We'll give you some pointers. You're the expert. You know your client. You know what their goals are. You know if this tax strategy or this business recommendation actually makes sense for them, and then how to optimize that. You're the expert. But it lifts you to a level of much higher value than just doing a lot of data input, doing a lot of compliance work, delivering the same government report that every other tax shop in the world is going to deliver. It helps you differentiate your services. It helps you really stand out and really create that practice of your dreams. So that's our strategy here at Intuit, is really to create that AI-driven expert platform to help showcase your financial acumen, your expertise with your clients.
Well, and if I could just add one more thing, David, too, because Jim sparked a couple of thoughts that are I think worth mentioning. You made a minor comment, Jim, right? Of, yeah, it's the technology will make a mistake, right? That's something I actually see a lot. People have extremely high expectations of technology, almost to the level of expecting it to be perfect at all times. And I think it's really important that we temper that expectation, because no technology is ever going to be perfect, and just like no human is ever going to be perfect. And so, and the technology is built by and used by humans. So there's going to be issues, mistakes, and so forth. And Jim talks about our strategy, for how we are developing our products, and speaking of AI technology, things like, one of the things that comes to mind and I don't want to get specifically focused on, scan and import technology, but it's come a long way. And one of the things that people don't realize that even we do is when, we do scan and import technology, when users go in and they make corrections to what the computer has read in, that actually signals back to our servers, and we learn, oh, that's coming in incorrectly. And the more people that are engaging with that, then it's teaching our systems back, hey, this is how you do it better. And then the technology gets better simply by engaging with it. And so, the thing I would encourage people is, keep working with the technology and keep working through the challenges that you're going to face, because it's a part of the growth process. It's part of the journey for everyone, including you and your firm, and how that all impacts you specifically.
Yep. Great. Thank you so much. This has been fantastic. And you all just kind of almost have my questions in front of you, the way you transition from one to the other. So John, coming back to you, just can each of you, we'll start with John, but then Jim and Jason, share some of the tools that your respective companies are providing to help them firms make this transition.
Sure, thanks, David. Love the dialogue so far. Just throwing that out there. You know, it's always good to hear other people, you know, their point of views and how they see things. And we all see a lot of different accounting firms, and so being able to bring those best practices and understandings through this is really valuable. You know, Pacific Accounting and Business Services has been around for about 14 years, and you know, we've got a subsidiary called PathQuest that is software that's developed by accountants for accountants. The first thing that, you know, when we talk about tools, I'll just kind of throw out there that the white label service that we provide on tax and accounting provides a, you know, that bridge to help people with the manpower issue, right? And then on top of that, we've got PathQuest Business Intelligence, which is a reporting and an analytics tool that allows accountants to really focus around the accounting side and being able to look at easy to maneuver dashboards and so on and so forth, as well as predictive analytics. It's that future looking, right? It's a jumping off point where we've got you know, performance improvement where it will automatically, like kind of what Jason was saying, it's going to go through and pull out all the variances. So it gives you that starting point to have those conversations with your customers. And then along with that, we have something called PathQuest Accounts Payable, which allows you to, as an accounting channel, allows you to look at a different revenue stream and automates a lot of that process also. So those are some tools that, you know, PABS and PathQuest, that's our subsidiary that operates our software side of the business.
Nice, thank you. Jim or Jason, you want to go through some of the tools that Intuit is offering?
So here's what I'll say. You know, look at technology as primarily a means for automation and to help you draw out data insights. And I focus first on automation. And one of the things that I, you know, shameless plugging here, obviously I'm, you know, coming from Intuit's perspective here, but I mean, the reality is that, you know, there's a massive amount of, you know, business owners using QuickBooks to manage their financials and do their regular accounting, right? Majority of firms have a pretty good percentage of clients on QuickBooks Online. And I'm even hearing many firms, especially mid to large size firms, they're just pushing all clients. So you're going to QuickBooks Online. We're not maintaining 7 years of QuickBooks Desktop on our servers anymore. We're not maintaining a bunch of different workflows. We are standardizing. Everyone's going on QuickBooks Online. We'll work with you through the process. Once you do that, then what firms are doing is looking at their tax software and automating the bridge from books to tax is one of the biggest things that we've spent a lot of time focusing on over the last, 10, 15 years, Jim? And so what a lot of firms are doing is even dual using. So as they move the transition, you've got your tax software that you're in love with, right? Doesn't matter what that is. But our ProConnect Tax product, our ProConnect Tax Online product, has a direct seamless integration built with QuickBooks Online. I mean, it's click a button and the tax return's, you know, pretty much done. You know, it's obviously there's going to be things that are, if they're not in QuickBooks, you got to add them in. But I'm seeing a lot of firms just take their QuickBooks Online clients and use our ProConnect Tax product to take advantage of that automation. And then we just launched a new product that I'm going to let Jim tell you about that takes that to the next level.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Jason. Nice tee up there. So yes, QuickBooks to ProConnect Tax, literally your returns are ready to go in minutes. And what I'm most excited about is we take that same tax return information from your businesses, from your business owners, and we move that over to a whole new application called Intuit Tax Advisor, which is a framework for you to deliver tax advisory services for your clients. It focuses on, similar to traditional tax planners, it focuses on taking last year's information and creating that tax projection, but then also recommending tax strategies and quantifying the value of those tax savings for each of your clients. And then what we've heard from customers is about half of you don't even provide a deliverable for this tax planning experience today because the deliverables are so horrible. And so we've got a nice, beautiful, colorful, with your logo, your message on it, report that makes for a very nice, simple deliverable to clients with client education, quantifying and showcasing your recommendations and your values. And this is really our first foray into delivering fully automated advisory service applications for you. So we're starting in income tax because that's where the biggest ROI is. You have a slam dunk with this one. On average, firms with their first tax plan they're delivering to clients are showing an average of about $21,000 in tax savings. And what used to take 2.3 hours to create that first plan, they're now doing in about 22 minutes. So tremendous productivity savings. Again, this is a first iteration. We have about 30 standardized strategies in there today that you can personalize. You can add your own custom strategies, but we are just getting started and we'll add more. But even more important, this is the first foray into advisory across our platform. And sort of the framework is there so that we can begin to help you deliver advisory in a lot more areas. So we're super excited about it. You can always reach out to Jason, myself, or Intuit to get a little more information about that. We have lots of other platform offerings. And again, one of the things that Intuit's excited about is we're an open platform. So we want to try and help you solve your biggest problems, things like payroll, payroll benefits, access to capital for your clients, sales tax compliance, income tax, all those things. But if we don't do it best, hey, plug in somebody else who does it better than we do. And that way you've got the value of that integrated platform all the way from your client transactions, all the way through accounting, tax, and now through the advisory services, all in one place in one seamless platform.